Super Bowl here, a new report is sounding the alarm about boys and gambling. Common Sense Media surveyed more than 1,000 boys between the ages of 11 and 17 and found gambling is common in that age group, with more than a third saying they've done it in the past year. Researchers say this goes beyond sports betting. It's also happening through video games, social media, and algorithms that push gambling content to children, even if they're not looking for it. Let's welcome Jim Steyer, CEO and founder of Common Sense Media, for some insight. Thanks so much for being with us.
Good to be here, Garcia.
We have heard from Common Sense Media about responsible screen use, limits on time, 2 hours, whatever. But this study really underscores the importance of adults knowing what your child is exposed to in that time.
No kidding, Garcia. I mean, come on, I'm the parent of 4 kids. You're just talking about your son. The idea that well over a third of 11 to 17-year-old boys in the U.S. are gambling online now. And this is Super Bowl week. I don't mean to rain on our parade here, but this is Super Bowl week. And you have kids 11 to 17 gambling with money and everything from video game sites with loot boxes like Roblox to actually betting on games and the over-under. It's really an astounding study, and it is a warning shot to every parent out there, and quite frankly, to the NFL, the leagues, and the social media platforms and TV networks that are advertising gambling to little kids constantly. It's really a big problem.
Let's go back to what you just mentioned. You mentioned Roblox, and I know a lot of parents think of Roblox as safe. They're like, well, it's not Call of Duty, right? How can a seemingly safe, harmless game kind of veer this way?
Well, look, I've got 2 kids who are gamers, right? And so they're very well-adjusted boys overall. But when you play video games, there's lots of ways to do in-app or in-game purchases. And there are loot boxes or other stuff like that. Parents know because it shows up on your credit card. But the problem is it's a gateway drug for gambling. In the same way we sometimes talk about cigarettes as being a gateway drug for other kinds of drugs or alcohol. Remember, this is addictive stuff. Gambling is an addiction. But for 11, 12, 13-year-old, they're completely unprepared socially and emotionally to deal with this. And then they're constantly bombarded, whether they're playing video games or watching ESPN or Fox Sports or you name the channel, with gambling ads and content that the announcers bring in. So this is basically, to me, it's sort of an epidemic of teen gambling that we're trying to sweep under the rug because people make so much money from gambling, and that's not okay.
How do these algorithms pick up on the fact that, like, oh, this is an adolescent boy who's looking at my site or playing this game? Because boys are being fed different things than girls, right?
Definitely, definitely. But they know your kid's age, Garcia. They know what your kid likes. So if your kid's a sports fan, that boy is likely to be targeted with advertising, even though they didn't ask for it, right? And kids are really vulnerable to this stuff. Yeah. And the truth is, we passed a big law in California last year. You know, Common Sense Media is the biggest group here in the state and frankly around the country. And we passed major law around age verification, which is important. But some of these gambling sites and video game sites and social media platforms get around that. And there's just this constant buzz. You know this. Everybody out on the screen there knows how many gambling ads there are now. But the impact on young boys is really a challenge. And it's a mental health issue as well as a pocketbook issue and an addiction issue.
Right. I mean, it's almost like the finances are secondary. Tell me more about the mental health impact.
Well, look, gambling's really stressful, and you lose money. What if you're a 12-year-old and you lose $150 of your parents' money? That's a big deal, Garcia. Yeah. Imagine your kid coming explaining that to you. Oh, sorry, Mom, I lost it on this or that. So it's mental health. It's also stressful. It's also addiction. You know, you mentioned screen time earlier. This is one of the ways people stay on sites like DraftKings or FanDuel, which they have, quote, age restrictions, but kids get around them, and they're also marketing to kids. Yeah. So this is a public health crisis, and even though we're all psyched to have the Super Bowl here, and I'm a huge sports fan, this is simply wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember, I can go back to when my children were toddlers, and I would look up movies on Common Sense Media, and is it safe, and that sort of thing. But I think the space between a parent knowing what their child is doing, especially online, can get broader the older that child gets, because I tell myself, I'm raising adults, I'm not raising children. So how can a parent give that adolescent, right, 11 to 17, the space they need to grow, but also make sure they don't go down a really dark rabbit hole?
It's, you know, gosh, it's a great question. It's actually the perfect question. And I'm a parent just like you are.
Yeah.
Number one, you don't want to over monitor your kids' habits, right? but you want to know if they're doing this. So I think you have to have an ongoing conversation. Look, with our youngest boy, I'm not going to out him. I was very blunt with him. Why are you asking me to Venmo you money, pal? I know why. I mean, we had a really good clip on another thing earlier this week from Ben Affleck talking about his son asking for $100 to gamble. But you can monitor your kid's conduct. If you feel it's really a problem, you just sense it. You can look at their social media accounts, quite frankly.
Yeah.
You can also check your own credit card bills because they probably have your credit card number and are using your credit card to gamble. But the most important thing is ongoing dialogue. And you know what? The league should take responsibility. The television networks and social media platforms need to take responsibility. And we at Common Sense Media, we are going to write new laws to regulate this. And we should, because it's not a healthy thing for kids.
Yeah, I remember when my boys were little, I would tell them, like, I love you no matter what, and all the time when they, like, did something stupid right. But now that they're teenagers, I'm like, oh, this is when it really counts. And so just assuring them that there will not be a freak out on the parents' part if we learn of this behavior, because together, because we love you no matter what and all the time, we will get through it and help you. Well, Jim Steyer, I know it's been a minute since we've talked in person. I'm so happy you were able to join us today, and I know that we'll get to talk again soon.
Great to see you, Garcia, to everybody there. You know, good luck with the Super Bowl. It should be fun, but no gambling.
There you go. No gambling. All right. Thank you.